Hey everybody, it's Cam Capture here, doing that follow-up video on Team Rocket like we talked about earlier. Sorry it took me a little bit longer than I would have liked to get it done, but I was busy doing some actual landscaping type work. But I was able to sneak in a few matches with Team Rocket before that, and I did some purifications, which we'll get into later. But my suggestion is when you're going fighting even these little guys, go in with your best guys. As you'll see later in the video, it takes me longer and longer to beat him because I wasn't reviving. I was just running and running and running. I only had, at this point, I only had 36 minutes to get to work, and it only takes me about 5 or 10 minutes or so, depending on the traffic. But I'm really playing with fire here, pun intended, with these Charmanders and Charizards. Really playing with fire when I'm trying to sneak in some extra play before work. I guess that's one of the benefits of being self-employed. You can kind of move things around if you need to, but still you want to be nice to the people that you make appointments with. You want to stay on time. You don't want to be inconsiderate of other people's time. That's same is true in Pokemon. You know, if you're setting up a raid with someone, try to be timely about it. But there's another dark Pokemon. We'll mix it up with another one here. I get into it with a few dark Pokemon out here while I'm dinking around before work. They're all over the place now. Just go to where you find a lot of Pokestops and you'll see them. Later on in the video, I fight another one. I think it's right after this, actually. And I missed the second fight because my software failed on me and I had to restart. So just get out there. Try to just focus on getting them. Try to avoid, unless you're shiny checking really quick. I actually lost a stop because of a shiny check as well. So you can lose them really quickly. There's no timer on them, which is kind of lame. It would be nice if there was a timer or a countdown on them. But it's Team Rocket, you know. They're going to be stealthy, I guess. They're gonna hide their intentions. They're not going to be really clear about what they want or what they're doing, I guess. So you just got to be, more considerate of that, I guess. It's pretty darn hard to get in two that are nearby, but I was able to do that as my last couple of fights here in this video. And I went ahead and sped these up. Sorry if that's a little uncomfortable to watch, but I didn't want this video to last forever. I got a lot of footage in just a short amount of time. I think you can go out there and probably mix it up with just a bunch of them. There's quite a few. I mean, there were two right next to each other here. I think I missed the second one here, but I was able to get two in right after that, like I said. So you just got to get out there. You just got to try to find a place that has, pardon me, quite a few Pokestops. You want to try to get out there and just watch and have a good idea of where your Pokestops are, where you can kind of hunker down for a little bit, because it seems like they pop up pretty close to each other. I was watching them, and it looked like it started on one, and then it moved to another, and then it moved to another, and then it moved to another. And that's, I'm not positive about that. That's just my anecdotal experience. But seemingly, as long as you kind of watch the area with that has one, and you kind of stick around to that area, you'll find more. Or if you have, kind of a downtown area or a place with a lot of Pokestops, that's probably the best place to go and get a walk or a run in if you're just looking to get some sort of Pokemon, some sort of dark mix-up. But I think you'll probably find them as long as you're out there and you're poking around. I didn't have a whole lot of trouble. I mean, my first video was from my local park, but as you guys saw, I didn't even get to that one because I was just a little bit too slow. You got to be pretty quick on the draw on these guys. I've read there's a hidden 30-minute counter that we talked about, but I don't know how accurate that is. To me, it seemed like it was a lot shorter than that. So I'll have to do some research and see if there's some update to that. I'm not exactly sure. But I think you'll see on this one, I think I only get 3 balls to capture it because I lost 2 monsters. Yeah, so you want to have as many monsters remaining as possible, so I wasn't being very conscientious of that, but you potentially want to you want to switch Pokemon during the battle so that you have all three up. You also want to go in there with an idea of what kind of Pokemon that they have. That way you can kind of have an idea what type to put against it. That guy said don't tangle with me, so I think he's a grass guy. Yeah, the chick before, she said, the gal before, pardon me, she said that something about water. So, you just got to take kind of the cues that they give you, use your best judgment, and figure what kind of moveset they have, and then try to plan against it. I was just throwing my big beefies against them. I was honestly just trying to sneak in as many of these as possible. I got about 30 minutes of play in, as you can see here. I have about 15 minutes before I need to get to work. So at this point, I'm hustling. I'm just trying to get as many of these in as possible so I can complete the quest. I think I might have actually had it done by this point. I don't remember how many. I think you only had to do 3, and I think I did 4 or 5. But heck, I was just trying to get in as many as possible, and then I did the purifications after I did work, and just before. Well, actually, no, I did it in between 2 jobs. I gave myself a little bit of a rest because it's kind of hot outside today, and I don't want to fry myself. I actually got to go back out and get a couple more jobs done today, but that's no big deal. See, this one was the one where I was able to do 2 that were really close to each other. So if you're close about it and your software doesn't fight you, you can get it done. But if one pops before the other and you have an idea of what that is, definitely try to swing towards the one that pops first. Because, like I said, I don't know how quickly they go down, but seemingly they go down pretty quickly. And I'm never sure however many are actually going to be in there or not. So who knows? But I'm definitely going to try to catch as many of these shadow Pokemon as I can. I imagine that this is probably going to be a limited event where they're coming out in this big of frequency. And, who knows how long it's going to stay like this. So my suggestion would be to try to go out and catch as many of these shadow Pokemon as possible. I think you guys saw earlier I had a 10 CP shadow Zubat. And I held on to that guy because I'm not going to purify. Well, maybe I'll purify him if the person asks me to. But generally speaking, in my Pokemon community, anyways, there's a want for the CP10 shinies. I'm not exactly sure why they want the 0 level Pokemon. I don't know, but people do, and I would assume that Shadow would have the same kind of appeal to them as Shiny to a lesser degree. So maybe consider that kind of thing if you get a perfect Shadow. Pardon me. Again, excuse me. If you get a perfect Shadow Pokemon or a 0 level Pokemon that is Shadow, you might want to consider holding on to that for trading purposes. Who knows? Somebody might want them. But that's up to you whether or not you want to hold on to a Pokemon that you'd prefer to purify. Personally, I think that there's quite a few benefits to purifying. It definitely looks like it's a big boost, and we'll get into that in just a second. But I actually just like the visual look of the Shadow Pokemon. I think that having that black smoke all over them and having the red eyes, I think that's pretty darn cool. The visual effect for the purifying them is pretty nice too. If I'm being honest with you, if I were to catch a Shadow Pokemon that was shiny, if that's possible, I'm not sure. But if I were to, hypothetically, I might consider purifying it depending on the aesthetic, because like I said, the purification, it has a pretty neat looking visual aspect to it, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But it also might be the case that the shiny might look a little bit cooler if it was with red eyes. So who knows? Though I guess if you caught a shiny, hypothetically, because I don't think this is not a possible Shadow Pokemon at all right now, but like in the future, if they released an Aeron or something, yeah, that has red eyes already, so that would be kind of lame. Because you probably want to purify that. But let's go ahead and purify 3 Pokemon. I'm going to purify Squirtle, a Bulbasaur, and then the Rattata, because I have 2 Squirtles and another copy of Bulbasaur in the form of this point as a Venusaur, but I don't really care about the Rattata. Maybe I'll catch another one, maybe I won't. But it's the one I feel like I can sacrifice, especially over the that CP10 Zubat, which, like I said, somebody might want. See, here's that purified Squirtle. Looks like it has some sort of angel light all over it. Pretty cool. With some kind of shiny, if Shadow Pokemon can be shiny, it would look pretty darn cool. The Bulbasaur honestly looks pretty cool evil, so I'm kind of hoping to get another Bulbasaur, Shadow Bulbasaur, because it's... I don't know what to tell you. I think that this Shadow looks cool. Pardon me. I don't know. It's just it's a little bit cooler than the Shadow for some Pokemon, I think, on the Squirtle, but I think that the Shadow on the Bulbasaur is cooler than the Purified. So it's purely aesthetic. It's whether you like it one way or the other. And some people might prefer certain Purified Pokemon to others. Some people might just say they only want Shadows. I don't know. You know, I'm not a big Shadow guy or a big Light guy. I'm more of a gray Jedi than a dark or a light, I guess. But so I'm just gonna say I'm gonna make the Pokemon Shadow or Purified based on what I like. I suggest you guys do whatever you like, and don't let anybody tell you that one thing is cooler than the other. But once you complete those, you get some extra stuff, as you can see, and Willow's got something to say about how frustration gets replaced with return. So that's pretty cool. You learn a couple of things, and you get some stuff done. So I would suggest you guys get out there, you try to be your very best, you get as many of these Team Rocket quests done, and have a good time out there with some friends. But just remember to stay hydrated.